Right, welcome everybody. Welcome if you're joining us. We're going to give a couple of minutes for people to get in. So welcome, come on in. Don't be shy as well. Do use. Right, Jackie is first into the chat box saying hi from Farnham. Hello, Jackie. And we've got Louise from Herefordshire. I'm not going to read out everybody because we've got a rather lot of people joining us tonight. Right, we've got people from Bedford, Lou, somebody from Ulverston, Cumbria, Deborah, Adam from Bromley, welcome. Josephine from East. Oh, they're coming in too fast now to read. Right, we've got Scotland, Hampshire, Plymouth, Lancashire. Hello from Leeds, welcome. Salisbury, Dartmouth. Oh, I do like Dartmouth. Sheffield.
Nobody from Bournemouth, is it?
Nobody from Bournemouth yet, I don't think. Right, we've got USA, North Carolina. We won't ask which way you voted today. Hello from Ottawa, Canada, where it's cold and snowy. Please take me to the Maldives. Right, well, we're going to certainly transport you there tonight. And somebody from Ontario as well. So welcome. I don't know if it's snowing there as well. But yes, we all need a bit of warmth tonight, I think. We've got Tony from Spain joining us, so very international crowd. And from Brighton saying she loves the Maldives. So, yeah, Bedfordshire. Hi, everyone. Davika, Oxfordshire. Got Tilly from London, Hilary from Uxbridge, Joy from Richmond. We've got somebody from Madeira, Portugal. Hello, John. Buckinghamshire. So come on in. We will be going live properly in a couple of minutes, but we do find it takes a while. Rachel from Dorking, Homer Kuoni. Yes, we are going to be hearing from Kuoni tonight. Somebody from South Africa, welcome. Glad you could join us. And Southport, Sutton Coldfield, Manchester, where it's raining. It won't be raining tonight on this. We've got somebody from Strasbourg. Welcome. Sue and Graham from London, welcome. Maidenhead, London, hello. Kiki from Maidenhead, yes. Manchester, Yorkshire. So you see, we're covering the world tonight. Lisa from Italy, welcome. And Tammy from, is that Tammy? North Carolina, welcome. And yes, we won't talk about the election. Stephen from Alberta, Canada. Right, while everybody's coming in then and piling, we're going to do a little poll to see how many of you have actually been to the Maldives. So please take a moment to fill out the poll. So have you been? Are you actively planning it? Or, or you're just interested and want to find out more tonight? I must admit, I've got a confession to make. Mr. Toyib from the Maldives, please forgive me. I've never been to the Maldives. Not yet. But I'm super interested in this event tonight because I want to find out more. And looking at the figures, do carry on filling it in. But it looks like about a quarter of the people have been to the Maldives and the others haven't. So we're all dying to find out more. So yeah, more people piling in. We will go live any minute. Jean from Montreal, welcome. Leighton Buzzard, it's very glamorous on here. Southwest London, Essex. Somebody called John, he booked on Friday and it was cancelled on Saturday. Oh, I know. This has been what a roller coaster few days, which I'm sure we'll talk about a bit. That is so sad. And somebody else as well, the same thing happened. Their trip's been cancelled. We've got somebody from Turkey in. So welcome. And somebody said that their friend was quarantined in the Maldives. And that was their inspiration to travel there. Yes, I know a journalist who's decided that he's going to be staying there for this lockdown, and why not? Right, Jersey and the Channel Islands. So, yes, if you haven't filled out the poll yet, please fill out the poll. Let us know whether you've been or not. We're going to be finishing that in a moment, and then we'll get on with the main event. Okay, yes, I think that's it. So, welcome if you are only coming in now. But we will start in a moment. So just to welcome you to this evening, I'm Lynn Hughes. I'm the founder and the editor of Wanderlust magazine. And as I've just confessed, I'm really looking forward to this evening because I've never been to the Maldives. But I have seen some of the photos and some of the videos, and oh gosh, do I want to go. So really, really looking forward to finding out lots tonight. And as we've already seen in the chat box, a few of the people on tonight were due to go, they were booked to go, and unfortunately it's been cancelled, which is terrible, because I do know there was great excitement last week about being able to go to the Maldives. I gather all the flights were booked. Everybody was going crazy booking to go there. And of course, then Boris scotched all that on Saturday, which is very, very sad. But let's hope that situation doesn't stay for very long. So I think to start off with, let's hear from Mr. Toyib Mohammed, who's the Managing Director of the Maldives Marketing and PR Corporation. And welcome, Mr. Toyib, and perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about the situation in the Maldives at the moment.
Thank you. Good afternoon and good morning, or and good evening from the Maldives. I'm Toyib Mohammed, yes, as I was introduced, and it is wonderful to meet you all in this virtual event hosted by Wanderlust magazine. We understand that it is one of the most established travel publications in the UK, and we are beyond thrilled to be a part of this comprehensive marketing campaign in the UK market on behalf of the Visit Maldives. Thanks. After almost 4 months of border closure, we reopened our borders on 15th July with strict safety measures, which are in accordance with World Health Organization guidelines and the local health protection agency as well. As part of this campaign with Wanderlust, we would like to ensure travelers that Maldives remains a safe haven with the safety measures put in place, and the unique geographical formation of islands naturally scattered, distant from each other, makes it really safe, one of the safest. And to add to this, I'm honored to say that Maldives has been awarded Safe Travel Stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council, and the ACI, which is the Airport Health Accreditation, has also been received by Velana International Airport for consistent measures which are in line with ACI's standards in the new normal. On this note, I would like to highlight that the majority of resorts and liveaboards are currently open, whereas we reopened guest houses on 15th of this month. As of 23rd October, HPA has permitted split stay between all tourist establishments with prior approval as per the guidelines. We are honored that UK has removed Maldives from the UK Global Travel Advisory, which cautions British citizens against of course, but it changed lately, I think the day before yesterday. But I think we are very confident that things will get and improve soon. We would like to showcase experiences unique to Maldives, and this will be aided by 3 tourist properties in the country who are also taking part in the event. We want to give viewers and potential travelers to Maldives a first-hand experience of the destination as we invite them to visit us and rediscover Maldives. Needless to say, we are looking forward to welcoming back more tourists within the year. We will most likely take the tourism sector of Maldives to peak in the foreseeable future. Several initiations are underway and have already taken place to ensure this. In fact, we have launched the Maldives Border Miles program, the very first of its kind in the world. This is an extremely interesting and beneficial move made by the Maldives Immigration. Allied Insurance Company, in association with the Ministry of Tourism, has also launched a COVID-19 insurance policy focusing on tourists visiting Maldives, and this insurance policy, called Allied Inbound, consists of 2 options covering medical charges, isolation facility charges, emergency medical transportation charges, and interment charges. With these wonderful programs and policies in place, several marketing activities are also taking place in our key markets, such as a campaign with Skyscanner, outdoor advertisements in the UK, which is on hold at the moment, a global campaign with CNN campaign with FVW in German-speaking markets as well. More activities being developed for the rest of the year, such as campaign with the Travel Zoo starting in November as well, WTM virtual event, and more. The aim of these campaigns and activities is to increase our brand awareness and visibility among tourists in the UK and assure them that Maldives is one of the safest countries to travel to during this time. I would like to invite you to come visit Maldives soon. We are looking forward to having you here. Thank you for your time and have a very good day. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Toyib, and yes, thank you for that invitation. I'm sure we're all going to be wanting to visit. And looking at the stats, yes, the Maldives is certainly one of the safest places in the world. So just to then very quickly say what's going to be happening tonight, and we've already have had some people ask about, will this be recorded? Yes, we are recording tonight, and we will be sending out an email in a few days' time with the recording on it. So don't worry if you have to leave partway through, you will be getting the recording. I know that some of the shops and restaurants, for instance, are especially open tonight. So yes, so don't worry about that. And so what we're going to do in a few minutes, we're going to have our main presentation from Sheena Payton of Kuoni, and that will be followed by a Q&A, which Mr. Toyib will be joining us for that, and also Sarah Saylord of Maldives Marketing and PR too. So we'll be able to take your questions at that point, but do feel free to put them in the chat in the interim so we can start looking at them. And before I hand over to Sheena, let's first of all, to get us in the mood, have a lovely video from Kuoni. Oh gosh, right. I think that really showed off the beauty of the Maldives, didn't it? So, and for our expert speaker tonight, Sheena Payton is Kuoni's most senior Maldives expert. And Sheena actually first visited the Maldives on a personal holiday back in 2000, but fell head over heels in love with it. Since then, she's been a regular visitor, and she tries to visit the islands at least 2 or 3 times a year. So she's here tonight to share her passion for all things Maldives. So Sheena, over to you.
Oh, thank you. And good evening, Wanderlust readers. It's just great to be here to share love of one of the most exciting destinations in the world, and certainly one of my favourite places in the world, the Maldives. So I have worked at Coney for 14 years now, and I've been very lucky that I've been able to work and travel to the Maldives about 25 times now over the last few years. And as you've heard, I first fell in love with it myself on a personal holiday back in 2000. So I just hope that this evening I can share a few insights, some of my experiences that I've had over the years to entice you to think about travelling there yourself. We've seen from the poll there are quite a number of you that have been to the Maldives before. Some of you were planning to go, and I know many of you planning to go in the future. Whatever your plans, whatever your bucket list places, I hope that we can share something maybe new and unexpected to you about the Maldives tonight. So first of all, a map. We thought this would be a good place to start. And the reason that I'm sharing this really is to show you that the Maldives is like no other destination in the world. It's an island nation of 1,200 individual islands. It covers a huge area, about 90,000 square kilometres, but just 300 square kilometres of that are actually land, so it makes it quite unique. The island sits in natural coral atolls. There are 26 atolls there, and typically they're just a metre and a high above sea level. This makes the Maldives the smallest Asian country and the flattest country in the world as well. But for all of its size, it has so much natural beauty. Now, I often get asked, which is the best part to travel to? Should I go to the north, the south? How is it different? And the answer to that really is there isn't. You know, unless you particularly want to go to a specific island, it's beautiful everywhere. The weather is consistent and the seasonality runs from north to south. You can see the atolls on this map, and that covers about 900 kilometres from top to bottom. So you've got lots of exploring that you can do here. Now this is Mali. This is the city, the capital city of the Maldives, and it's the most densely populated capital in the world. Many visitors never venture to Mali. It is worth a visit to see what the life is like for locals living here. But most visitors will come into the airport on the island opposite, and then they'll travel off to one of the local islands or to one of the resorts. Mali is connected to the airport now, though, by what's called the Friendship Bridge. So they're not completely separate, and it's very easy for you to get across there. Now, I'm going to talk about some common misconceptions because the reason that people choose to visit Maldives, and often many times again, is there's a lot more to it than you may think. It's actually a very diverse experience. We frequently at Coney talk to customers who are worried that they might get bored here. And if you're not normally the type of person who goes for sun, sea, lying on a sun lounger, then you might dismiss it as not for you. And honestly, before I went there, I also had little idea of how much there is to offer. And having spent more time there, I've seen it grow and understand just the diversity there is. So I really want to help you to understand that there's a lot more to discover than you might have thought. I do still remember the first time that I arrived here myself, though. I'd had a window seat on the flight coming out, so I'd had a glimpse of these amazing turquoise colours and the atoll stretching out before me. And you could hear lots of gasps from people on the flight as they spotted it from the window. And I absolutely love seeing the reaction of people that go out here for the first time. It really is quite breathtaking. So whether you're travelling on by boat, either to one of the small local islands or to a resort of your choice, or if you're taking one of the seaplanes, you certainly know that you've arrived. It's just the most stunning sight that welcomes you. Maldives has the largest seaplane operation anywhere in the world, so you are going to see them heading off to the outer atolls. And if you do take a seaplane, the flight is really an experience in itself. I'm sure many of you have travelled on a seaplane elsewhere, but the views here really are pretty spectacular, something that I never tire of. Now, undoubtedly, one of the biggest draws of the destination is its natural appeal, and in particular the ocean and all the underwater life. Over the years at Kawoni, we've worked with quite a number of writers, of presenters, personalities, and experts in their field. And one of our ambassadors is the lovely Simon Reeve. Now, you may have seen his travels around the Indian Ocean on the BBC. Simon's really an intrepid traveller. He's not known for lying on a sun lounger, and his programmes always look at the light and shade of a destination, delving that little bit deeper. And that's something that we never shy away from either. So from looking at the waste management challenges out here to how we can protect the coral reefs from pollution and from climate change, Simon found that there was a lot more to this island nation than meets the eye, perhaps. And he frequently talks about the Maldives at events that we've hosted with him. He describes it as one of the most astonishing places on earth. Now, my experience of the ocean and the marine life there has certainly blown me away. I had dived in the past in the Red Sea, in the Med, which was great. And I'm no longer a diver, but I do really love to snorkel. And the great thing in the Maldives is that you can really see everything from the surface. So whether you're a diver or whether you're a snorkeler or whether you want to try it for the first time, it's truly spectacular. And I think like nowhere else that you've been. The real colours of the corals are so bright, and there are just so many different fish, large and small, there that you meet. Turtles, sharks, it's just absolutely breathtaking. And many of the islands are surrounded by their own house reefs, so you can easily just swim straight from the beach or off the jetty and you're right on the reef itself. Once you're there, it's like a living aquarium. You're just literally surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of fish, parrotfish, angelfish, eels, rays, turtles. This is where I really developed my love for reef sharks. The triggerfish can be a little bit protective when they're nesting, so I'd watch out for them. But other than that, all the fish are friendly and quite curious about you. The local resort teams, I've always found as well, are so proud of the reefs and the coral gardens there. So they love taking you out snorkeling and sharing all their local knowledge with you. So you can come away feeling a bit like an expert yourself. And for me, there's really nothing better than getting up first thing, seeing the sunrise, and then snorkeling on the reef with your buddy before anyone else appears. Often that's the best time when you can see all the baby sharks playing together in the water, and the turtles will venture out, and you get the place completely to yourself. There are some really truly unique parts to the Maldives. Areas like the Ba Atoll, which is in the northwest of the atolls. This is a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve and has been since 2011. It's absolutely teeming with manta rays, and they come here to feed on the very dense plankton that's there. I've seen them up to the size of a double bed, literally jumping from the water there. It's just amazing. You'll see turtles, hawksbill turtles, sea turtles. It's also where I came across the largest pod of bottlenose dolphins that I could ever have imagined, literally hundreds of them chasing each other through the sea. So if you really want to get immersed in that side of the marine life, then the Ba Atoll is fantastic. It's also one of the few places left in the world where you can see whale sharks, and they regularly come here to mate. Although I have to say there are quite a few spots in the Maldives where you can see whale sharks. Best time is in the summer between July, August through to about October, November. I've been fortunate enough to see them a few times, and I guess some of you may have had the chance to swim with a whale shark somewhere in the world. They're just incredible creatures, and I think that is probably an experience that I would say is one of the best in my life, swimming with whale sharks. Possibly less expected. I do have memories of walking along the beach one evening and under the moonlight. And as I was walking on the sand, realised that it was lighting up. And that was the first time that I'd also found that there's bioluminescent plankton out in Maldives. It's fairly well documented that you can see it there, but it's not very easy to predict where you can find it. So you are lucky if you come across it. Generally more common in the summer months, but it can happen anytime, and it's really quite magical when you see it. It just shows you how rich the ocean life is there, even though we can't see it all the time. And at Kiwani, we find that a lot of customers really seek that marine life, and they'll combine a trip with Maldives and Sri Lanka, perhaps, where they spend a little bit of time exploring there, and then they'll come down to the atolls to really immerse themselves with the underwater life. Now, we're just going to share with you a quick video now that shows you some of that beautiful underwater life.
Welcome to Villa Hotels and Resorts. Let me introduce you to Dive Oceanist Maldives, a brand that was awarded the leading dive center of South Asia and Maldives by South Asian Travel Awards. Today, we will guide you through some of our dive centers at Villa Hotels and Resorts, which are located in 3 different exotic locations in the Maldives. Dive Oceanist Paradise Island Resort, which is located just 15 minutes away from Melana International Airport, with a team of multilingual instructors. It's a perfect dive base for beginner divers with an easy access to the house reef to start their dive experiences, with a great chance of seeing green turtles with their first dive. While the certified divers can enjoy diving in one of the most famous manta points located just 5 minutes away from Paradise Island and surrounded by some of the most stunning marine protected dive sites, which are located 15 minutes away from Paradise Island Resort. Get a chance of seeing a number of stingrays, explore the famous shipwreck of Maldives Victory, and see lots of soft corals and marine life from several other dive sites. Want to see lots of marine life in one atoll? Let us take you to Dive Oceanist Sun Island, located at South Ari Marine Protected Area. Sun Island Dive Center is also a PADI certified dive center, and as a certified free diver, you can enjoy free diving with whale sharks, mantas, turtles, and even get a chance to explore some of the shipwrecks of South Ari Atoll. With over 60 amazing dive sites encountering varieties of sharks, fishes, manta rays, Sun Island is also located a few minutes away from world famous Whale Shark Point, located at Mamigili Beru. If it is in your bucket list to snorkel with hundreds of manta rays, our dive base located in the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, Bar Atoll, Dive Oceanus Royal Island organizes snorkeling trips to the world-famous marine protected area, Hanifaru Bay, during the manta season from June to November. Easy access and perfect conditions of house reef also makes Royal Island a convenient place for beginners. For certified divers, there are several spectacular dive sites such as the famous dive sites of Bar Atoll, Domfanutila. We here at Villa Hotels and Resorts Maldives are looking forward to welcoming you to take a plunge with Dive Oceanus real soon.
Just beautiful, isn't it? Now, with such a beautiful environment, sustainability is something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm sure is really close to your hearts as well, to protect the future of this area. And the Maldives is really leading the way with some of its sustainable initiatives. With global warming, we know, leading to rising sea levels, increasing sea temperatures can have a devastating effect on the corals. And it takes a very small increase in the sea temperature to have an impact on the coral, and it can just die. We've seen the amazing reefs, but there are some areas that have been subject to bleaching because of rises in temperatures. So to me, it's really reassuring to see that there are some great proactive coral regeneration programs going on in the destination. More and more of the resort partners that we work with are taking this really seriously and getting involved. There are marine biologists in-house and environmental experts all working together to grow new reefs and continue the life cycle. And we can all get involved as well. So as a visitor, you can be hands-on helping to make these coral baskets. This is an example here at Constance Resort, but there are many, many of these now. You can help fund programs by sponsoring them, and then watch their growth and how they develop over the months and the years to come. Some of the resorts will send you pictures and updates on how your coral's going. And I just think it's such a simple thing. It's fascinating how effective something like this really is. The new corals grow just in a matter of weeks and months. And I've been really impressed to see how this has developed throughout Maldives in the time that I've been traveling there. The use of coral and marine friendly sunscreens has also become a bit of a topic. They're much more accessible now and easier to find, and the resorts are really educating guests on the damage that sunscreens can do to the environment. So it's very proactive out at the moment. Now, as well as tourism and resorts that we're all talking about, fishing plays a huge part in the local economy, particularly tuna fishing. The fisheries have tight restrictions there, which are helping to keep the fishing sustainable. And the wide nets are being discouraged to protect the marine life, with traditional methods like pole and line fishing being supported with the local fishermen. These traditional and sustainable methods are really on the increase, and they'll help to reduce with the overfishing, all which affects the ecosystem out there as well. I have seen the local fishermen using these methods out there, and it's a real skill, but great to see. I've also been asked by a few customers, can I take my fishing rod out there? And the answer is, don't take your fishing rod. You can't just sit on the jetty and start reeling in the fish, but you can get involved. There are deep sea fishing trips, and some of the resort teams will let you join staff on fishing excursions, and you can see how it's done recreationally as well out there. Now, in the resorts themselves, I'm seeing a really positive attitude towards the environment. to reducing waste, to protecting the marine life. The single-use plastics that we're all familiar with have been hugely reduced in favour of other options like locally made ceramic pots for the toiletries, and that's becoming the norm now. And actually, I think the awareness here of this is much more visible than in some other countries. Many of the islands have their own desalination plants where they bottle their own water in reusable glass bottles. While it hasn't eliminated the use of plastic bottles, it is making a big difference. And we can all help too by taking home our empties and using refillable containers, which at Koone we always encourage. I've seen a real shift over the years to a much more open and transparent attitude as well. So it's now quite commonplace to have a tour behind the scenes, see how waste is managed in resorts, the recycling programs, some which are quite creative, and really understand the challenges of living on a small island. I mentioned Simon Reeve before, and if you watch his program, you'll see he talks about waste management there. And even since he was there filming just a few years ago, I think there are real visible improvements. There are beach cleans going on, encouraging people to really get involved, both on the local islands and in the resorts themselves. During my last trip out there, I had a snorkeling trip out to quite a remote sandbank, and I was given with me a string bag to collect any rubbish that I found on the way. And something simple like that just would not have happened even 5 years ago. So really positive moves. The original pioneers of tourism in the Maldives were Universal Resorts. They were the first to open, and they have many resorts today. And they do show some great examples of sustainable practices. This image that you're looking at is from the Eco Centre at one of their resorts, Kurmathi, which is complete with a full skeleton of a sperm whale. And there are lots of educational programs going on there to help people understand the fragility of the environment and what they can do to help. As well as reducing plastics, they grow a lot of their own produce as much as is possible. So they have large nurseries on some of the islands and hydroponic gardens. And it's quite amazing what you can grow in a very limited space. There are links with local islands too, and this is becoming much more commonplace, producing organic veg for the resorts and reducing their reliance on importing. In fact, quite a number of resorts that we work with have the local communities working with them now, and this supports more employment as well. As a visitor, whether you choose to stay locally in one of the guest houses or whether you choose a larger resort, you can really experience the true Maldivian culture and visit some of the local islands. And the growth of the guest house sector has really made a difference to this over the past years. So the pollution and the waste is definitely being addressed here. And I think it's fantastic to see, I say, much more visible than some other parts of the world. As well as the underwater life, I genuinely believe that Maldives is the best place just to rejuvenate, rebalance, take a bit of time out and reconnect with nature. All of those things that we need right now, really. It's the perfect place just to be, to focus on your health and well-being and a much slower pace of life. And for those of you that think you'd be bored, I've heard so many people saying that before they've visited Maldives. And many of them come back from their trip saying, firstly, how easily they just slipped into that way of life, but also how surprised they were by how relaxing it was. And combining that with activities they had a great time and that they want to go back again. You don't have to work out in the gym and get on the treadmill unless you really want to, of course. And yes, there are amazingly gorgeous luxury spas on the beach, over the water, even under the sea now as well, where you can watch the fish while you're having your massage. But you can also try something a bit more simple. Outdoor yoga and meditation with the best view in the world has become much more popular, and some of the teachers are really outstanding. For the true yogis, the classes really are a joy. They're teachers coming from India, so you can really add something new to your practice. A couple of resorts I've found that actually give you yoga mats in your villa, in your room. Barros and Malaidu are just a couple of examples of those, and I think that's a really nice touch. The popularity of yoga has increased so dramatically. It's quite a common sight now to see people practicing on the beach and on the decks in the resorts. Along with your health and well-being, food is obviously a huge part of the experience as well. And obviously the fish and the seafood is fresh and fantastic here. But there are lots of local dishes that you can try as well. And again, wherever you choose to stay, you'll have the chance to try some of the local curries with the tuna and the coconut and yams, which are grown widely here. Really great flavors. And I would really encourage you to do that. I like my food quite spicy, and there's lots of great curries that you can try. A couple of the local Maldivian dishes, I know we're going to talk about one later, the banana flour salad, the matuni, which is beautiful. Lots of fish soups, and they're really great eaten with the local chapati bread. So, I hope you're feeling a little bit inspired to consider either discovering or rediscovering the Maldives. But like anywhere, it's key to find what suits you best. And there's more than 150 resorts now to choose from, as well as the growth in guest houses in the Maldives. And there are more resorts on their way. And when you look at the islands, they're all beautiful, they're all stunning, they all have wonderful coconut palms, beautiful beaches, bright blue lagoons, but each does really have its own personality and style, like anywhere. So you could be looking for a very rustic, traditional Maldivian style, or a larger island with lots going on to keep you busy, or you might be looking for that real iconic desert island with very few people and just peace and quiet. So it's important to understand what you're looking for. And from very early beginnings, when the Maldives first opened to visitors back in 1974, and this is an original picture taken from way back then. This was the first resort to open. Karumba, at the time, had been a coconut plantation very close to Mali, and opened to the first guests that visited. From these really simple beginnings to where we are now, almost 50 years on, and with more than 150 resorts, it has been a complete transformation. I wasn't there in 1974, but since I first visited 20 years ago, I really have seen so much change during the time. And the development and the innovation is quite incredible. The first underwater restaurant, which opened in Conrad, followed with the first underwater spa at Hufin Fushi. You get luxury overwater villas now, only reached by your own private boat. Completely private islands for that ultimate hideaway. But new resorts are also innovating to reflect the way that trends are again. As more people adopt things like plant-based diets, I'm starting to see more vegan and vegetarian restaurants popping up, which wasn't as available before. The world's very first fine dining all Maldivian cuisine resort has opened. In fact, we find with Keone customers that food really is, a big part of the trip and in their choice. The need for long-term sustainability is definitely driving more naturally styled resorts as well, using traditional building methods and materials, and really bringing back the authentic Maldivian culture alongside contemporary design as well. The less developed atolls are opening up. There are family-focused islands with things to cater for all ages. And wellness it's no longer just about having a spa. So wellness resorts are really taking on a more holistic approach. This is an aerial view of a resort called Kagi, which actually opens this week for the very first time. And it's a complete health and well-being resort, from the great menus and the food selection to the style and the design, the outdoor meditation and yoga classes, and everything is incorporated there. And in this current world where we're living amongst Instagram, we've got the accessibility of drones, things have really changed. And now the resorts have to be just as visually stunning from every angle that you look at. So the design and the architecture is becoming more and more interesting, which also makes them really distinctive and easily identifiable from the air. And this shot is actually the Maldivian, fine dining Maldivian restaurant that I mentioned before at Malaidu Resort. But there's been lots of infrastructure investment as well. I remember the airport when I arrived there 20 years ago, and it wasn't much more than just a runway and a shack for the terminal arrival, and sand floors reaching out to the sea where you got on your little donny boat. And there has been a lot of local investment to really increase the capacity.
Right, hello everybody. Sorry, it seems as if we have lost Sheena. She was actually at the end of her presentation anyway, so I think what we'll do is play the video that she was going to finish on, which is one of the luxury and most amazing resorts which is just opening.
Welcome, Sarah, to the Conrad Maldives Muraka experience.
A triumph of modern design and technology in a class of its own, the Muraka.
Wow!
Welcome to the Muraka residence.
This architectural marvel sits above and below the surface of the Indian Ocean.
And welcome to the masterpiece of the residence, the Undersea Bedroom. I hope you're not shy.
Wow!
Welcome to your new bathroom.
And if this is not already a mind-blowing experience, curate your own dream escape from an array of menus, all included in your Muraka stay. Firstly, the Wanderer's Experience, where you can star in your own underwater exploration documentary. Secondly, the Flavors Experience, where everything is fresh from the ocean, where you can personalize your palate at any time of the day with flowing champagne and other delights. Enjoy moments of pure bliss to transform your soul. And finally, the Thrill Experience, where you can exhilarate your body and mind And when the day is over, you can even fulfill your lifelong dream of sleeping on the ocean floor. The Muraka experience is truly unique and out of this world.
Oh gosh, so that place definitely had the wow factor. So welcome back to Sheena. Gosh, we lost you. I don't know what happened there, but yes, you froze. So I think you were more or less at the end, weren't you?
Sorry, yeah, that's part of life now, isn't it? We
It
freeze.
is. Yeah, nothing ever quite goes. It's actually quite dramatic here at my place because there was a firework happened outside at the same time. I was like, oh gosh, it's all happening. Anyway, but thank you so much for your talk because you covered so much in that, and it was so comprehensive and gave such a great flavour. So that was fantastic. We've had an awful lot of questions, so why don't we invite back our fellow panelists. So if Mr. Toyib and Sarah Saylord are there waiting in the wings somewhere, hopefully, yes, welcome back, guys. At least that worked. Yes, so we did have a little glitch there, as you'll have seen. And so welcome to Sarah. So Sarah has worked with the Maldives Marketing and PR Corporation for over 6 years, and she's travelled extensively around the many islands. Sarah's a real adventure lover, and she says she likes nothing more than surfing, snorkeling, sampling the traditional food, and touring the cultural highlights of the capital. So yeah, because in fact, I've been inundated with questions. I've got something like at least 30 questions here that came up on the chat. I think more and more are coming in. We're not going to get through them all. I appreciate that, although we will keep going on a bit longer, obviously, for people. So few people have asked, will we be making the questions and answers available? Yes, we will be. We will send out an email within the next few days. We'll have on there a link to this presentation. But we will also put in some of the questions and answers, including the ones we couldn't answer tonight. And so do look out for that, because that should tell you so much more. But it's great to see so much interest. It's almost hard to know where to start, and but I will be able to group some together. So, in fact, first of all, maybe Sarah, because obviously you did mention that you like touring the cultural highlights, and we've had a couple of questions about the cultural, meeting the people and how can people interact with local people? What is the local culture like? Have you got any thoughts there for any recommendations?
Sure. I mean, the Maldives is famous for its one island, one resort concept. So even if you are going on holiday to the Maldives and staying in a luxury resort, a lot of the resorts also have local islands around them, which you can visit. Either for day visit, so you can go over to the island for a day visit to see the local culture and meet local people and just get a taste for what real island life is all about. And also a lot of the islands now have guest house properties open. So if you do want a bit of a different type of accommodation, that maybe isn't the 5-star luxury, you can stay in guest houses around the Maldives now, which are just as lovely, but a little bit more affordable, and do just provide a bit more of an in-depth insight, I think, into the Maldivian culture. And of course, Male, the capital, has some wonderful tours around the capital, which you can do. You can visit the fish market there, which is just fantastic. There's also a fruit and vegetable market. And of course, there's a lot of the cultural, iconic places to visit as well. So when you're traveling around Mali, it is just worth remembering that you do need to be respectful of the culture over there. So just to dress accordingly and just to be respectful of, the different types of culture there. But it's wonderful. It's great just to kind of go and see a bit of the hustle and bustle of the capital city, which is great.
Wonderful. Mr. Toyib, how many people actually live in the Maldives? I don't think we've actually tackled that. What's the population?
It's around 450,000.
Right. So, yeah, bigger perhaps than some might think. Okay, but it sounds like there are good opportunities to meet the people. And we've also had a couple of questions about, COVID-related ones, about entry requirements, what sort of testing is required. Somebody asked, is there a quicker, easier test than the PCR test? And is it possible in these times? Is it still okay to travel between the islands? Are there any restrictions on that?
At the moment, PCR tests is only allowed, as because WHO recommends it very much, and that's why. But we have been discussing that, and we have been actually begging health authorities to ease out. But still, I think what they've been doing that is why we are here at this moment, where very few destinations are open, and we are one of the few destinations open where, of course, UK travelers can travel to as well. And there are so many stringent measures we are taking. But still, when you are in, as Sarah and as Sheena has mentioned, in these scattered resorts, you won't feel this. You don't have to wear these masks or whatever. But still, the staff is well taken care of. 14. If they travel to Male, they will be quarantined for 14 days and then back to service. So basically, you are entering into a safe place. But of course, not every place is 100% safe for anyone at this time. But we are taking every precautions to make it safe, fun, and an enjoyable place to be. And I think on top of what Sarah and Sheena, 2S, I think, I must add one of the things, liverboards actually, where we didn't hear anything tonight. It's for those who are new to liverboards, it's a kind of a smaller luxury version of yachts or the passenger liners, and these liverboards actually range from 2 to 15 rooms now, and it has a bar, restaurants. Some have even spas now. For me, the best thing would be, of course, I'm a local, but what inspires me is, you sleep near one island, and when you wake up, you might be in another atoll. So it will be moving, and these smaller liverboards could be tailor-made for your taste. You can book for a 1-week trip to go from at least 6 atolls, probably. And probably you will be taking your own surfboards, going to a surf point, do your own surfing there with your loved ones. And then the next day you can be on a sandbank. And then maybe probably just your hotel will be going there with you. Your room will be with you. So it's one of the experiences. I think Maldives is unique now. So many of it, so many unique experiences as well. And that's why I'm sure Sheena cannot forget Maldives, I think. Did I answer all your questions, Lynn?
Yeah, I think that will do for now. Thank you, Zatoya. So there were some questions about when best to go. So a couple of people asked about September, whether that's a good time. Somebody said they can only travel in August. What's that like? So yes, any recommendations or any thoughts on when to go?
I think it's round the clock, 360 days. But a few days and few weeks, sometimes it rains and monsoons are there. But still, nowadays it's funny. You cannot say it, but it's not. I can say it's more or less all throughout the year. But it used to be traditionally. It used to be your winter is the peak season in Maldives. But not anymore, I think, because of the travelers from Southeast Asia, Middle East, and other countries. But there's always tourism happening, and it's really good. It's because for the local population and the local businesses, we don't. Of course, there's a peak season. Christmas and New Year, it's always overbooked, and some sleep on the beach, I think. I'm sure Sarah and Sheena would have got that experience. So basically, I will say is all throughout. For some, it might be good to book for off-peak seasons so that you could get a really good price for it. Because for some families more, they would like to come during your school holidays. And Christmas, New Year is definitely the best. Thank you. Yeah.
I think just to add to that, it is a year-round destination. So obviously for us, winter sun, it's great to go kind of November to March time. But actually over our summer holiday, it is, as Mr. Toyib just referred to, it's actually much more affordable to go. So there's always a plus to whichever time of year it is, whether it's weather or price.
Yeah.
There is, and I would say with weather, we talk about monsoon. It's not like monsoon as you would think in some other parts of the world, and you tend to get short, sharp showers, and then the sun comes out again. So yeah, I would agree. I think the summer is a great time to go, although it's traditionally called monsoon season.
Okay. So trying to get through more of these questions. Right, we've had a lot of questions about snorkeling and diving, not surprisingly, but snorkeling in particular, because obviously not everybody can dive. So, well, I think for a start, obviously we just saw some incredible visuals. If somebody's snorkeling, are they going to be able to see whale sharks and manta rays? And also, have you got any recommendations, perhaps Sheena, on places that are good for snorkelers, where, you know, there's a shallow reef and shallow seas? Because if somebody's a bit nervous about it, obviously, I guess they still want that experience, but they want to know that there's somewhere suitable.
Yeah, of course. And I'm not a diver myself, as I said. So, you know, I can vouch that this, you don't have to be at all. The snorkeling is absolutely amazing. If you're going to a guest house or you're going to a resort, the staff will come out with you. So if you're a beginner, I would always say get someone to take you out on the reef, and they'll be able to guide you and point things out to you and help you with that. So, but many of the islands have their own reefs, and that means you don't have to get in a boat and travel somewhere. So you can just take your time. If you want to just go out for 10 minutes and try it, you don't have to venture far. And yeah, there are lots of examples of that. So, you know, from Kiwani, for example, thinking of all budgets, we work with the resort Biadu, which is a really great value, fantastic snorkeling, 3-star property, up to somewhere I would recommend called Kandolu, which is a really lovely 5-star boutique with a fantastic house reef where you're never guaranteed, but you're virtually guaranteed to see turtles and sharks. I've swum with whale sharks many times as well as a snorkeler, so it is definitely doable.
Fantastic. Okay, we've had a couple of questions about solo travel. What's it like for solo travelers? And is there an affordable way of doing it? Because obviously people are worried about single supplement or paying for double occupancy. Who would like to take that?
I'll start. We would like. It's going to go back. I'm going to go back to the guest house accommodation again, because I think this is just a great way for people to travel independently and get a taste of the local culture, and also travel affordably if they would like to. But of course, a lot of the resorts as well, the high-end hotels and resorts also do offer single occupancy rates now. And a lot of them are providing all-inclusive packages as well. So they can tailor it to a traveler's budget requirements. If somebody wants to go to a resort and not necessarily be around a lot of couples, they can. There's so many resorts now to choose from, and they're all have their own kind of layouts and room setups and excursions. There's so much choice that really any traveler can find exactly what they want from a holiday in the Maldives.
Sheena, you got anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I would agree, you know, traveling off season, you may be more likely to get some great deals with no single supplements. Some resorts will do that. But yeah, there are resorts to suit everyone, and there are definitely some that are really popular with more single travellers. That's for sure, and it's a great place to go as a single traveller. You know, because if you choose the right resort, it's like anything, and you're not just surrounded by honeymoon couples on your own. If you have like-minded people there, then yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, that must be the dread. And also, what about travelling around independently? So, you know, we said, for instance, about the guest houses. So is it possible, if you were travelling independently, to have that more perhaps local experience, travelling between islands or travelling around?
Yes, from what I know, that yes, it's very easy as an independent traveller to go. It's very safe. I mean, that's one of the massive pluses of the Maldives. It's probably one of the safest countries, destinations in the world for solo travellers. It's just a great, and it's not until you go there and you just meet local people and the culture, and it's as soon as you get off that plane and you just walk through that airport, you see that blue sea, which you cannot describe. You have to physically see it to understand how that colour, I just can't describe it. But everyone is just so friendly and so happy and so willing to help. And I've travelled as an independent female traveller there, and it was just fantastic. I just loved it. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh, no, sounds good. Okay, and getting away, because we've talked about solos, but we've had a couple of questions as well about travelling with children, and are there any particular recommendations? So, for instance, somebody asked about travelling with a 4-year-old. Are there any particular resorts or islands that are good for families?
There are lots of resorts suitable for families now. Depends if how much you want to spend time with your child, or if you want them to be in a kids club, for example, because you have all extremes. And some people want to really go and spend time with the kids and share the experience. Yeah, I mean, there are lots of recommendations. The picture I showed of the Eco Centre at Kuramathe's a great one for families. And the activities there are very educational. They focus very much on teaching children about the destination. And they take kids from all ages, from babies, toddlers, right up to teenagers. But I think you'll find there's a lot of choice for families now.
Yeah.
Can I add to it? Yeah, there's so many resorts with kids friendly facilities as well, kid centers and professional childminders, and because it's so competitive now. It's everybody's doing giving all the facilities, providing it, and making sure the grown-ups enjoy actually, even though they are with the kids. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Somebody asked about, is there anywhere where you can sleep under the stars? Is there anywhere that offers that? Or
I can suggest a luxury resort. Finaloo has a well Instagrammable picture of what they call a bubble on the beach there. So on the sandbank, you can actually sleep out. So you're in the glass bubble looking at the stars. That's one example. In Obalu resorts, they have some of their villas have retractable roofs. In some of their honeymoon suites, for example, so you can actually lie on the bed and see the stars above you as well. So yeah, there are all sorts of innovative ideas out there.
That sounds fantastic. Some people have also asked about spellings of places and about the recommendations. So just to repeat again, we will be sending out a follow-up email. And so we'll make sure that we ask our speakers tonight for their recommendations. And we'll put those in the email so that you've got those. And I think that will help a lot. Okay, I think we are running out of time, but we'll just do one or two more questions before we have the final video. So is it possible to combine with Goa, for instance? And I think somebody asked earlier about combining with Sri Lanka. So perhaps this might be one for Sheena. Somebody booking, can they combine?
Yes, they can combine, and it's actually quite a popular thing for people to do, particularly Sri Lanka and Maldives, because of the close proximity. It's very easy to combine the two. They're a good contrast, a good fit between them, and we find that lots of customers will maybe go to Sri Lanka and do a little bit more adventurous traveling through the hills there and exploring, and then they'll come to the Maldives after. With Sri Lankan Airlines flying into both destinations as well from the UK makes that extremely easy.
Okay, terrific. And a couple of people have asked, can they have the contact details of the speakers? I'll have a word with the speakers about that. But certainly what we will do in the e-follow-up email is we will have some useful links. And yes, there will certainly be a lot more information that you'll be able to access. So we are, I think, running out of time. So we are going to have to wind up in a minute. So what we are going to be showing in a minute to finish is another video. We haven't had a chance to talk much about the food. I love the description earlier. Sheena said about how there's a lot of curries, which I hadn't really appreciated. And that food. In fact, Mr. Toya, very quickly, what's your favourite dish? What's your favourite local dish that we should all try? Have you got
as Sheena mentioned, for breakfast we have this kind of a coconut threaded fish, which we call masuni and roshi. Kind of a chapati thing. That's one of my favorites.
Is it? Well, I'm glad you said that one, because that's the video we're going to show in a minute. So yes, we'll be showing a video, and it is that dish, which before
it's easy to make.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because the video, to warn people when we do show it, the sound is a little bit muffled. So sorry about that, but there are captions, and it's just wonderful. It'll make you hungry watching it. And I think most of the ingredients, you can't really go out and fish for your own tuna at the bottom of your garden or pick an aubergine from your garden as they do in the video. But you can, of course, get the ingredients from all good online supermarkets. And so you really will do stay for that, because you really will wake up and have an appetite watching that. So do look out for the follow-up email as well. Like I said, that will have lots more info in it, lots of useful links. We'll put in the place names that have been mentioned tonight by Sheena and the others. And do look out for coverage of the Maldives and upcoming issues of Wanderlust as well, because I don't know about you, I'm feeling inspired, and I'm sure we're going to be covering the Maldives over the next few months. So do look out for that. And so before we go do the video, just say a massive thanks to Mr. Toya, because I know it's past midnight there in the Maldives tonight. So yes, we don't want to keep you up much later. And to Sarah for joining us, and of course to Sheena for that great presentation. So thank you guys, that was really interesting and really, really good. Okay, so let's see the final video, which is on the food.
Good afternoon. We are here at the Rediscover the Maldives, and Olivier, the chef executive, and I have with me Ali, our specialist of Maldivian food. And we're going to realize for you today a very important dish in the Maldivian cuisine that is called masuni. Masuni originated from two words, mas, fish, yes, and uni, which means coconut. These two ingredients are very present in the Maldives, on the tropical islands, and are the base of the Maldivian food. Okay? So to make the mushroom, we need a few ingredients. Break it, and you scrape to get the grates inside. Wow, very nice, very nice. The chili, this is the Maldivian chili that you can find here. Spicy this one or not too spicy? Spicy. Spicy, okay. So if you don't like too hot, you have to put very, very little. And then wash the fish. So this is tuna. Coffee leaf. Okay.
We boil this.
Even in Europe, all these ingredients can be found.
Just need to mix this three.
The big salt and the curry leaf nicely mixed together.
Then I will add tuna. This this one mushroom we can mix same ingredients in eggplant, in pumpkin, in normal coconut mushroom we can add.
Okay, so this is the how do you see if the mushroom is ready? How is the experience? Only the taste, or you have also some?
No, some people in Maldives, some people mix with the masani. The guy the names.
Okay.
He knows they were salt in everything. Some people.
Well, that's cruel for those who haven't had dinner. I'm sure Mr. Toy had a lovely dinner tonight. But yes, gosh, I really want to eat that. So I do think in the follow-up email, we need to include the recipe for that. We'll have a link to, let's get that recipe, Sarah, and we'll do a link to that because I think that looked terrific, really magical. So we've had some lovely comments coming in as well from people saying thank you. But so thank you as well to all for joining us tonight. I think that really has been inspiring. And yeah, thank you so much to our speakers for your information. And let's all hope that we get to go to the Maldives soon. And yes, thank you. And good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.